Hi, Bob Rasuli, Orange County, California. Thank you for taking the time to watch this introduction and learn more about the API 571 Corrosion and Materials Training course offered by I4I Academy. If you are considering API 571 certification, or if you work in inspection, engineering, or reliability and want a deeper, more practical understanding of corrosion and damage mechanisms, this video will give you a clear picture of what this course covers and how it is structured. Corrosion and materials degradation are among the most common causes of equipment damage and failure in operating facilities. Many of these issues develop slowly over time, often without obvious warning, and by the time damage is discovered, the consequences can be serious. The purpose of API 571 is to help professionals understand how damage mechanisms develop, where they occur, what conditions drive them, and how they are detected and managed. The API 571 certification is part of the American Petroleum Institute's individual certification program. The exam is a closed book exam, meaning you must rely entirely on your understanding of the material. The exam is based on API Recommended Practice 571, damage mechanisms affecting field equipment in the refining industry, and the entire document is subject to testing. Success on the exam depends on your ability to recognize damage mechanisms, understand their characteristics, and apply that knowledge to realistic situations. This course has been designed directly around the official API 571 body of knowledge, but it is structured in a way that makes the material practical, understandable, and usable, not just something to memorize. API 571 contains a large number of damage mechanisms, and simply reading through the document can quickly become overwhelming. The goal of this course is to help you organize that information in a way that makes sense and sticks. A major part of this course is built around scenario-based examples, because this is how damage mechanisms are best understood. Throughout the program, you will work through many realistic situations involving actual equipment operating under specific conditions. You may see scenarios involving pressure vessels in crude units exposed to particular temperature ranges and contaminants, piping in FCC units operating at elevated temperatures and velocities, or equipment in hydro-treating and hydro-cracking service where hydrogen partial pressure and material selection play a critical role. Other scenarios may involve sulfur recovery units, amine systems, sour water systems, or asphalt service, where operating cycles, shutdown conditions, and process chemistry strongly influence how damage develops. These examples are designed to help you connect damage mechanisms directly to real operating conditions, making them easier to understand, remember, and apply. As you move through these examples, you'll also notice that many situations require you to consider time, history, and operating changes, not just current conditions. Equipment does not experience damage in isolation, and API 571 frequently tests your ability to recognize how damage evolves over years of service. In the course, you'll see situations where a piece of equipment has operated under one set of conditions for a long period and then experiences a change in feedstock, temperature, or process severity that shifts the dominant damage mechanism. You may review cases where short-term upset conditions create damage that is later misinterpreted, or where past repairs and material upgrades influence how damage progresses. These examples help reinforce how operating history, inspection history, and process changes all factor into correctly identifying damage mechanisms and selecting appropriate inspection and monitoring strategies. The course covers all major categories tested on the API 571 exam. You will begin with terminology, definitions, and acronyms used throughout the standard, because understanding the language of corrosion is essential before you can accurately interpret damage descriptions. From there, the course moves into detailed coverage of individual damage mechanisms. For each damage mechanism, the course explains how API 571 expects you to understand it. This includes the description of the damage, the materials that are affected, the critical factors that drive the mechanism, the types of equipment and units where it is commonly found, and the typical appearance or morphology of the damage. You will also learn about prevention and mitigation strategies, as well as inspection and monitoring methods associated with each mechanism. One of the most challenging aspects of API 571, and one of the areas where many candidates struggle, is dealing with situations where more than one damage mechanism may be present. Many exam questions are intentionally written to include overlapping conditions. The correct answer depends on understanding which mechanism is dominant under the given operating conditions. This course places strong emphasis on helping you think through those complex situations. You will work through cases where sulfidation corrosion may be occurring alongside high-temperature corrosion, where hydrogen-related damage may exist together with stress corrosion cracking, or where corrosion under insulation may hide another underlying mechanism. By working through these examples repeatedly, you develop the ability to separate contributing factors, recognize dominant mechanisms, and select appropriate inspection approaches. Another important focus of the course is damage morphology. Many damage mechanisms have distinct visual characteristics, and API 571 frequently tests your ability to recognize damage based on how it appears. The course explains what different types of damage look like in the field, such as uniform wall thinning, localized pitting, cracking patterns, blistering, bulging, or internal surface attack. Understanding morphology is often the key to selecting the correct answer on the exam. The course also emphasizes the relationship between damage mechanisms and inspection planning. Understanding corrosion is not just about identifying damage. It is about knowing how that knowledge influences inspection selection, inspection locations, and monitoring strategies. Throughout the program, you will see how different damage mechanisms lead to different inspection approaches, whether that involves visual inspection, thickness measurements, advanced ultrasonic techniques, radiography, or long-term monitoring. Each section of the course includes video lessons that explain the concepts clearly and step by step. These lessons are supported by flashcards, which help reinforce key characteristics such as affected materials, temperature ranges, environments, and distinguishing features of each damage mechanism. Practice questions are included throughout the course to help you test your understanding and become familiar with the style and level of difficulty used on the API 571 exam. In addition to topic-level practice questions, the course includes full mock exams that simulate the actual API 571 testing environment. These mock exams follow the same structure and time limits as the real exam and are designed to help you practice recognizing damage mechanisms quickly and accurately under time pressure. The course is fully self-paced with no required order. You can work through the material sequentially, focus extra time on damage mechanisms you find challenging, or begin with a mock exam to assess your current level of readiness. Your progress is tracked automatically so you can return to any topic whenever you need review. Upon completion of the course, participants receive a certificate of completion from I4I Academy, awarding 30 hours of continuing professional development credit, recognizing the time and effort invested in developing corrosion and materials expertise. If your goal is to pass the API 571 certification exam and, more importantly, to develop a strong practical understanding of corrosion and damage mechanisms as they apply to real equipment, this course is designed to support that goal. By combining structured instruction, extensive scenario-based examples, and realistic exam preparation, the program helps turn API 571 into usable professional knowledge. Thank you for watching this introduction and considering the API 571 Corrosion and Materials Training course from I4I Academy. I look forward to supporting you on your learning and certification journey.